Good morning. Welcome to Unity on the Avenue. My name is Kent Lemburg, and we're happy to have you here this morning, and we would like you to know this. We're here to remind you of your magnificence, to help you awake to all the wonder that you are. We long to show you all the joy you're worthy of. We're here to remind you how much you're truly loved.
Welcome, beloveds. How good it is to be with you once again. And welcome back, Kent Lemburg. It's always a joy. Thank you for sharing your gifts. You're always welcome. My friends, here at Unity on the Avenue, we are a radically inclusive community. We welcome all people, all races, all relational orientations and gender identities, and we honor all faith traditions, including those not on a faith path. So wherever you are on your journey, whatever you may have done, whatever you may not have done, you are welcome here into this beloved community. And we wouldn't be the same without you. So good morning, wherever this finds you, wherever we are greeting you on this beautiful Colorado day. Our only announcement today is a big one. We are gathering again in person next week. Yes, yes, yes. So please plan to be with us on February 27th at 12 noon. It is going to be a glorious day as we open our doors and welcome everyone back into this beautiful space. My friends, here at Unity on the Avenue, everything we do is grounded in prayer. And it's a great joy for me to be able to work with our chaplain prayer partners in holding this community, each individual and the collective, in as part of the greater good. And today our chaplain in service is Heidi Houston. Please join me in welcoming Heidi, who will offer a reading and lead us in our statement of faith.
Good morning, everyone. Welcome back for another Sunday with us. I have a reading, a prayer today from Tosha Silver. So if you would like, just sit back in your sofa or your chair and take in a few deep breaths with me. The name of Tosha's prayer for today is called Flow. I am always right in the right place at the right time, moving with the flow. Every day it becomes easier to stay completely in the moment. The divine guides my every action and protects me in every way. Every transit brings the perfect blessings. All is well. Divine Beloved, change me into one who can move or not move in right timing. I am filled with the peace of God. Divine Beloved, change me into one who can roll calmly and peacefully with the unfolding flow, holding my center amidst volatile shifts. All is well. Change me, Divine Beloved, into one who moves with deep ease and allowing. Let me trust where the flow is guiding me, knowing all unfolds in the right time and the right way. I am yours, you are mine, we are one, all is well. And so it is. Let's take a moment and say our statement of faith this morning. There is one power and one presence in the universe and in my life, God the good, omnipotent.
Surely the presence of God is in this place. I can feel God's mighty power and God's grace. I can hear the brush of angels' wings. I see glory on each face. Surely the presence of God is in this place. Good night, I said to my little son, so tired out when the day was done. Then he said, as I tucked him in, tell me, Daddy, what color is God's skin? What color is God's skin? What color is God's skin? I said it's black, brown, it's yellow, it's red, it is white. Everyone's the same in the good Lord's sight. He looked at me with those shining eyes, and I knew I could tell no lies when he said, Daddy, why do the different races fight if we're the same in the good Lord's sight. What color is God's skin? What color is God's skin? I said it's black, brown, it's yellow, it's red, it is white. Everyone's the same in the good Lord's sight. Son, that's part of our suffering past, but the whole human family is learning at last that the thing we missed on the road we trod is walking as daughters and the sons of God. What color is God's skin? What color is God's skin? I said it's black, brown, it's yellow, it's red, it is white. Everyone's the same in the good Lord's sight. What color is God's skin? What color is God's skin? I said it's black, brown, it's yellow, it's red, it is white. Everyone's the same in the good Lord's sight. Everyone's the same in the good Lord's sight. Everyone's the same in the good Lord's sight. What color is God's skin?
Again, Kent, my thanks. We so appreciate you sharing your gifts and your consciousness with us. Much appreciated. And so, my friends, that is the invitation for us today as we look at what it means to walk as the daughters and the sons of God, what it means to walk with God. As people on a faith path, my sense is we are continually looking at and feeling into what that means for us. What does it mean for me? What does it mean for my beloved? What does it mean for our family? What does it mean for our community? And indeed, what does it mean for everyone on the planet? So let's take a look at that. What do you look like when you walk? Are you the model of good posture and absolute alignment and shoulders back and doing everything you're supposed to be doing, or so the experts tell us? Yeah, neither am I. But I do try, when I catch myself, to incorporate some of those things into my physical presence. Because what we know about walking is that it is good for us, that it's good for our lungs, it's good for our heart, it's good for our brains. Indeed, it's good for virtually every organ in our body. And yet, some like walking and some don't. And it's easier for some than it is for others. And it's painful for some to walk. And there are those in our community who can't walk for whatever reason, that they are aided by others or by mechanical devices. So you see, we all get to show up in our walk metaphorically in different ways. And that's what we're exploring a little bit today. You know, in one of my previous lives, I had the honor to serve at the Colorado AIDS Project. And our biggest fundraiser every year was AIDS Walk Colorado. And it got to the point where we were earning more than $1 million every fall because so many people participated in the AIDS Walk. And one of the things that I appreciated the most is we were working on this all year with staff, with hundreds of volunteers, with so many people coming together. Our tagline was honoring people from all walks of life. And that is exactly what we get to do. You hear me say regularly, whatever you have done or haven't done, you're welcome here. Whatever your human existence, whatever your human path, wherever that has taken you, it has prepared you for where you are right now. And isn't it a good thing, in my humble opinion, one of the silver linings of these past 2 years of the cosmic pause, as I've come to call it, is we get to consciously choose what is ours to do, what we get to step into, and what we get to step back from. And isn't that a beautiful thing when we get to make conscious decisions in our lives? You know, Paul tells us many things about walking in the book of Ephesians. We are invited to walk worthy, walk different from the world, walk in the light, and walk in wisdom, among other things. So as we talk about walking this morning, how do you think your walk looks to others? Perhaps you're strolling down the beautiful 17th Avenue Parkway in front of our wonderful sanctuary. Or maybe you go to a high school track to exercise, or maybe walking around your block. Think about just what that looks like for a moment and how you show up in that way. I had a gym teacher in high school, Mr. Godwin. He was great at what he did. He was meant to be a phys ed teacher, treated everyone equally, worked with people with differing abilities, and invited us all to be the best that we could be. And for one who was practicing what he preached, he was a race walker. And I didn't know much about that at the time, but apparently it's keeping one foot on the ground all the time, and the hips kind of move in interesting ways. And he was a taller fellow, and we would see him all over town practicing his race walking with weights in his hand. And he was pretty clear, working with middle schoolers and junior high and high school kids. He was pretty clear that, folks were making fun of him, and he just joined right in because that brought him joy. That was a part of his walk. And today, power walking is popular. I was at the mall early last week, and there were any number of folks, different ages, different races, different physical abilities, power walking in the mall. And isn't that a great way to continue to get exercise during some interesting weather that may or may not appear on any given day here in Colorado? And we have walkers in our neighborhood. And I got to tell you, I've learned a whole lot in the year and a half that we've had a dog, taking our little Terry out and walking around the neighborhood, and who walks on a regular schedule and who doesn't. And we have one fellow who goes for a walk every morning and every afternoon, and he carries his golf club. Now, I'm sure that works perfectly for him. And I just am running through in my mind, I would hate to be the dog that gets in his way. And I'm sure he is kind and gentle with all beings. So I was also thinking about how would we walk if we walked like some of us drive? Suddenly we race up on the sidewalk and pass by somebody on the inside lane. Or somebody steps out in front of us and then we immediately get right on their tail and walk 2 inches behind them. Or we make faces and yell at people when they're walking their dog, or they're not picking up after their dog, or they're not doing something that we think they need to be doing. Or we grunt and growl at the crosswalk when we're waiting for people to cross with their dogs. Now, I'm not saying that I've engaged in any of those activities. I can neither confirm nor deny. But please don't reach out to Rick. He will tell you the truth. So, as we talk about our walk then, let's put that in a spiritual context. Let's look at our walk with God. What kind of walking are we talking about? Ephesians tells us, therefore, be imitators of God as beloved children and walk in love. So the word followers, the word imitators, they're both synonyms for the word mimic. So we are being invited to mimic God, to walk as though we think or how we think God might walk. And what does that look like? We're invited to follow that pattern, to follow that example, to be godlike, to reflect on those characteristics. You know, children are great imitators and mimics. At an early age, they begin to mimic their parents, both the good and the interesting. Yes, sometimes it's really cute until it's not. And I was just on a Zoom presentation earlier this week with the Association for Global New Thought. And one of my colleagues has a 3-year-old, and she said, David, you know, she was reflecting on when something that she doesn't want or something that she wants to shift in her life, she said, I can't have that. I don't want that. And she has a 3-year-old, and they were working through something, and maybe it was vegetables at dinner, when her 3-year-old daughter said, I can't have that. I don't want that. And so that's when she knew that her daughter was mimicking her. She may or may not know what those words mean, but she could feel the energy behind them. So we are invited to walk like God because we are the beloved children. Yes, yes, you. Yes, me. Yes, every one of us, even when we show up in interesting ways. Isn't that the interesting challenge for us? So I'm reminded of a story of a young Jewish boy who grew up in Germany. He idolized his father, who was a successful businessman. Their life revolved around the activities of the local synagogue, and it was really a very happy and good life. And then, when the boy was a teenager, his family had to move to another town in Germany. And that new community revolved around the activities of the local church. Well, the father announced one day that the family was going to abandon their Jewish tradition and take on the new tradition within this church. And the son, rightfully so, asked his father why. And the father responded that it would be good for business. This left the young man confused and bewildered, and that grew into anger and bitterness. He later left Germany for England to study. After some time, he formulated his ideas into writing, which gave way to a whole new way of life. His name was Karl Marx, and his new idea was atheistic communism. A life worth following really does matter. Role models matter. Having adults matter. Having older siblings matter, or people that you can connect with. So our invitation then, my friends, is to walk in love. Our walk is defined by that one word, love. We imitate God not by what we say, but by what we do with each step in our lives. Every step we take in life should have the evidence of God's love. To walk is to make progress in a certain direction, and to walk in love is to become more and more a person who loves others as God does. Have you made progress in that direction? Spoiler alert, I believe you have. I believe within the past year, within the past 2 years, that you continue to stay connected with this community, that you continue to gain a deeper understanding of what your walk with the divine looks like. And I just want you to know that I see your light, I see the work that you're doing, and I honor you on your journey. Loving others means seeing them as people and not things or objects of usefulness or obstacles that are in our way. We see them as ourselves with the same problems, the same difficulties, the same yearnings, and the same heartaches. They are no longer people doing something to us, but someone we can do something for. Peter tells us, keep fervent in your love for one another. The word for fervent has the idea of a muscle stretched to its limit. Loving others as God loves us can demand a lot in our lives in the form of patience, in the form of kindness, in the form of being constantly vigilant of our own thoughts and expressions. And sometimes we're pushed to the limit. That is the truth. And sometimes we're only willing to love others when it is within our comfort zone. When we're at that edge, when we're at that limit, sometimes we choose to step back rather than to step fully forward. And the invitation today, my friends, is just when we feel like pushing someone else away is when we get to hug them tighter. That is God expressing. That is the divine showing up and working through you. You know, again, as I reflect on that beautiful song that Kent sung for us, what color is God's skin? I said it's black, brown, it's yellow, it's red, it's white. Everyone's the same in the good Lord's sight. You know, the musical program that I toured with for 2 years, I sang that song in different languages all over the world, sometimes several times a day as we would do assemblies and shows and events. And it really hit home for me when we were in Mexico City and we went into a children's hospital. And for any number of circumstances, the production person who was in charge of our little group said, "David, you're going to do a solo today." And I said, "Oh, thank you so much for that opportunity. That really isn't my deal. I can do other stuff, and I'm really clear that singing and vocals isn't my specialty." He said, "David, what do you know about Up With People?" I said, "Up With People is educational and building networks of communication." And he said, "This is your chance to grow in your education." And I continue to argue for my deficiencies. I continue to argue for that which is not my greater good. And so I said, "But I can't sing. I can't sing in Spanish. I couldn't carry a tune if it had handles." And I continue to argue for my own deficits. And he said, "You'll be great. They're kids. They speak a different language, and they're happy just to see somebody." So he would not take no for an answer. So I stepped up, and the guitarist was playing the song, and I was singing kind of all over the place, and a little bit in English and a little bit in Spanish, and I'm not sure if I ever hit a right note or a right chord or a right tune. And in that moment, when we were singing, the thing we missed on the road we trod is walking as the daughters and the sons of God. I was eye to eye with this little six-month-old in a crib who had no idea what I was saying, and he was looking at me, and I was looking at him, and there was a heart connection there. So that is what I know, my friends. That is what I know to be my truth, and I invite you into that. We are never separate from. It's simply not possible for us to be detached from the good that is God, from the universe always conspiring for our good. We are always walking with God. It's simply up to us and our human selves to acknowledge that and see what that looks like, what that feels like, and how that outpictures in our human existence. So I bless you on your journey. I bless you on your path. I bless you on your walk. Please join me in prayer. Thank you, Spirit. Thank you for this opportunity to come together, to explore, to poke, to prod, to question what it looks like to be people of faith, what it looks like to be walking as the daughters and the sons of God, what that looks like in every moment of our human experience, not from a place of guilt, nor from a place of narcissism, but from that place of absolute connectivity and alignment, knowing that each and every one of us is that perfect child in whom God is well pleased. Yes, what I know to be true is that God plus you is a majority. So as we go forth into this day, into this week and beyond, I know that with each step we are heading in the right direction. With each step we are stepping into kindness, we are stepping into deeper connection, we are stepping into love. And how good that is to be able to acknowledge the one power, the one presence in my life, in your life, in all sentient beings, because it simply isn't possible to be separate from, apart from, or disconnected from the one power, the one presence that is God, that is Spirit, that is Jesus, that is Buddha, that is Yahweh. However you define that connection, I know that it is good, that it is primary, that it is strong, and that it is perfect for you. So I simply release. I let go, I allow it to be. I bless each and every being within the sound of my voice, knowing that all is well and God is magnificent. Thank you, Spirit, and so it is. Amen. And my friends, now is this time where we have the opportunity to give where we are spiritually fed. On behalf of the Board of Trustees, thank you for your gifts, for your tithes, for your offerings that enable us to continue to carry this message of peace, this message of love and self-love to a world that so desperately needs it. And please join me in our blessing of the gifts and offerings. Divine love, through me, blesses and multiplies all that I am, all that I have, all that I give, and all that I receive. And so, my friends, what we know as we are walking as children of God and children with God is sometimes our human self gets in the way. And it's not always easy for us to remember that God is always conspiring for our good and that the universe always has our back. So what we know to be true is that yes, indeed, it is always for the best.
When you feel sad or under a curse, your life is bad, your prospects are worse. Your wife is sighing, crying, and your olive tree is dying. Temples are graying and teeth are decaying and creditors weighing your purse. Your mood and your robe are both a deep blue. You bet that Job had nothing on you. Don't forget that when you go to heaven, you'll be blessed. Yes, it's all for the best.
Some men are born to live at ease, doing what they please, richer than the bees are in honey. Never growing old, never feeling cold, pulling pots of gold from thin air. The best in every town, best at shaking down, best at making mountains of money. They can't take it with them, but what do they care? They get the centers of the meat, cushions on their seat, houses on the street where it's sunny. Summers at the sea, winters warm and free, all of this and we get the rest. And who is the land for? The sun and the sand for? You guessed, it's all for the best. Some men are born to live at ease, doing what they please,
or
richer
under
than
a
the
curse.
bees are in honey.
Your life is
never
bad.
growing old, never feeling cold.
Your prospects
Plus
are
of gold
worse.
from thin air.
Your wife is
the best in every
sighing,
town, best at shaking down, best at making
and your
mountains of
olive
money.
tree is
They
dying.
can't
Temples are
take
graying
it
and
with
teeth are
them.
decaying, and
But what
creditors
do
weighing
they
your
care?
purse, your
They
mood,
get
and your
the centers of the
roll.
meat, cushions on their
Are
seat,
both
houses
the
on the
deep
street
blue?
where it's sun.
You bet that
Summers at the sea,
Job
winters warm and
had
gray, all of
nothing
this
on
and
you.
hit the rest.
Don't forget that when you go to heaven, you'll be blessed. Yes, it's all for the best. No need to be distressed. Yes, it's all for the best.
Someone's got to be oppressed.
Yes, it's all for the best.
All your wrongs will be redressed.
Yes, it's all for the best.
All for the best. And that, my friends, is what we know to be the truth. Thank you, Rick. Thank you, Kent. What a glorious celebration this is and continues to be. And my friends, I just wanted to remind you that we are still accepting your committed giving forms. Thank you so much for your continued prayerful consideration as to what you will be offering Unity on the Avenue in 2022. We bless you, we honor you, we love you. We are so grateful for that. And as we do every week, please rub your hands together, get that energy flowing as we bless the children of our community and the world. You are loved, special, and important. We see you and bless the divine being that you are. And as you go forth into this week, what I know to be true is God is always with you. There is no way that you can be separate from or apart from. So I bless you in this day, in this week, knowing that all is well. Please join me in our prayer for protection. The light of God surrounds us. I am that light. The love of God enfolds us. I am that love. The power of God protects us. I am that power. The presence of God watches over us. I am that presence. Wherever we are, God is, and all is well. Go in power. Go in peace.